In the executive bathroom, my manager forced me to scrub toilets while the entire team watched. Maybe this will teach you respect, he said. I was a senior chemist with proof our product could explode. Then the CEO walked in and asked, "What's happening here?" I'm on my knees, scrubbing an executive toilet in the downtown Chicago office of Granite Chem Industries, when my boss slams a mop into my hands and sneers, "Maybe now you'll learn your place." I don't look up. I don't need to. I can feel the eyes of 15 coworkers watching me from the hallway, some with pity, others with sick satisfaction. One of them even records. I scrub silently as bleach bites at my eyes. Just hours ago, I was a senior industrial chemist. Now I'm in a janitor's uniform, rubber gloves up to my elbows, hair tied back like a criminal on display. And watching me like a hawk is Marshall Decker, director of product launches, corporate golden boy, and the man who orchestrated this entire public humiliation. "This is what happens when you spread lies about your own project," he says smugly. "Scrub harder, Claire." Claire, that's me, Claire Danvers. 15 years in chemical safety and product formulation. I've patented 4 compounds, won 2 National Innovation Awards, and now I'm apparently unfit to hold a clipboard. Because I told the truth. The mop handle digs into my palm. "Make sure you get under the rim," Marshall adds with a smirk. "We don't want the CEO walking into any surprises." And just like that, fate answers. The bathroom door swings open, and in walks Franklin Mora, the CEO of Granite Chem. Silver-haired, 6'3", former Navy engineer turned Fortune 500 boss. The hallway goes dead silent. Franklin's eyes land on me. "What's happening here?" Marshall straightens like he's on a stage. "Just enforcing standards, sir. Claire has been spreading misinformation about the XL9 solvent line. We're ensuring she understands chain of command." Franklin doesn't even blink. "Is that so?" he asks, eyes locked on me. I stand slowly, pull off one glove, extend my hand. Claire Danvers, senior safety chemist, and what I've been spreading is evidence that XL9 becomes chemically unstable after 30 days in average warehouse conditions. Enough pressure builds to rupture steel containers. The hallway is holding its breath. Marshall laughs awkwardly. "It's exaggerated, a theory. Claire has a flair for drama. I have lab results. And a heat acceleration test that proves the breakdown occurs." Franklin raises one eyebrow. "And how long would this test take?" 2 hours. We can simulate 30 days in 2 hours. He turns to Marshall. "Cancel the production schedule. Both of you meet me in the lab, now." Everyone scatters like roaches. Like this story so far? Drop a comment with your city if you've ever had a boss like Marshall. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe, because what's coming next? You won't believe it. Franklin watches as I set up 2 chambers, one with Marshall's formula, one with my revised version. We ramp the temperature. The machines hum. "This'll be a waste of time," Marshall mutters. Franklin silences him with a single look. "While we wait, Claire, show me your data." I hand him 3 folders, my original report, lab notes, and emails I sent to Marshall warning of instability. He reads silently. 30 minutes in, the container with Marshall's formula starts to swell. Discoloration appears. Internal pressure warps the steel. My version, still pristine. "Stop production immediately," Franklin says, turning to Marshall. "Implement Claire's version, effective now." "You're going to regret this," Marshall says lowly, voice trembling with rage. Franklin doesn't look at him. "You'll be in my office in 1 hour." I should feel victorious. But as Marshall walks away, something dark flickers in his eyes. Something I've seen before. This isn't over. And what I don't know yet, what nobody knows, is that Marshall Decker isn't the only problem. He's just the first. That night, I don't sleep. I pace my apartment in Logan Square, replaying every interaction with Marshall from the past 6 months. Every sarcastic comment. Every private meeting I was excluded from. Every document that mysteriously got lost. The mop, the gloves, the audience. He didn't just want to discredit me, he wanted to break me. By morning, I'm no longer tired. I'm resolved. I show up early to the executive offices, wearing a Navy power suit I hadn't touched since my last promotion. When I step off the elevator, Franklin Mora is already waiting in the glass-walled conference room. No sign of Marshall. No lawyers, just Franklin, a folder, and 2 cups of coffee. "Claire," he says, motioning me to sit. "I spent the night reviewing the XL9 chain of documentation." My stomach tightens. He slides the folder across the table. Inside are my safety reports, but they've been edited. My conclusions have been changed, numbers massaged, warnings crossed out. Did you authorize any of these changes? Franklin asks. No, I say firmly. None, his jaw tightens. Falsifying safety data is a fireable offense. Then fire him. Franklin exhales slowly. I intend to, but this goes deeper. I've spoken with our legal department. There have been other incidents. He opens another folder. Raj from QC, transferred after reporting contamination. Tanya from R&D, resigned after being publicly blamed for a delay she didn't cause. A lab tech demoted without explanation after raising storage temperature concerns. Franklin looks at me. This is a pattern. I tried to escalate, I say quietly. But no one believed me. Well, he says, they're starting to now. He leans forward. Claire, I need someone to oversee the XL9 reformulation, someone who understands the science and the culture. My eyes widen. Me. You want me to run the division? Temporarily, he says, but if you can steady the ship, it could be permanent. It should feel like victory, but it doesn't. Because as I step into Marshall's old role later that day, I feel the eyes on me. The whispering in the halls, the cold shoulders from those who cheered him on. The real enemy is the system that let this happen. The next few days are a blur. The lab hums with renewed energy. Engineers who used to stay silent now speak freely. I hold open meetings, ask for feedback, recognize contributions, but the resistance begins fast. Emails from procurement go unanswered. Budget approvals stall. My team loses access to a key database. A vendor cancels a contract without explanation. And then, the rumors. She slept her way into the position. She sabotaged the old formula for power. She's unstable. Emotional. It's all happening again, only quieter. On the fifth day, an older engineer named Eli steps into my office and quietly closes the door. You're being set up, he says. What? Marshall's friends on the executive committee, they want you to fail. They're betting if you crash the reformulation, they can bring him back. Why are you telling me this? Eli looks me dead in the eye. My son works in a plant that would use XL9. If your version's right, and I believe it is, he could be the one getting hurt. He pauses. They've commissioned an outside lab, one that won't test for what you discovered. They're going to claim your delay was unnecessary. I feel my hands go cold. They'll paint you as paranoid, a jealous overthinker, and when the quarterly report drops, they'll make their move. I nod slowly. Then we don't wait for the report. Because now I know, they're not just trying to ruin me, they're trying to erase me, and I've been documenting everything. By midnight, I have a plan. I spread printouts across my living room floor, emails, altered reports, timestamps, digital backups of every document Marshall touched. The pattern is undeniable, but it's not enough to prove I was right. I need to prove they lied. And I need someone who knows exactly how they operate. I stare at my phone, thumb hovering over an old contact. Tanya Reyes, former R&D chemist, smart, blunt, and the first casualty in Marshall Decker's campaign of silence. We hadn't spoken since the day she walked out with her head held high. I tap the screen. Hello, she answers, cautious. It's Claire Danvers. Silence. I heard you're running things now, she says. Temporarily. I need your help. Another pause. For the company that let them throw me under the bus. Not for the company, I say. For the people who are still trapped in what they built. For the people who haven't escaped yet. A long exhale. Then, what do you have in mind? By dawn, we've outlined a strategy that could flip the entire boardroom upside down. And take Marshall and his allies down with it. Monday arrives like a thunderclap. At 1:45 p.m., I stand outside the executive conference room in the top floor of Granite Chems downtown HQ. Tanya's encrypted files are loaded on my tablet. Printed reports are neatly stacked in my arm. Franklin Mora appears beside me, expression unreadable. You sure about this? He asks. I stopped playing their game, I say. Now they'll play mine, he nods once. Let's change the company. Together, we step inside. 12 executives look up. Drew Easton, VP of Operations and Marshall's right-hand enabler, smirks from the end of the table. Claire, he says, faux pleasant. Thanks for joining us. I've circulated a third-party report confirming the original XL9 formula meets industry standards. He slides glossy pages toward each board member. The production delay caused by Claire's overcaution cost us nearly $2 million. Before we debate XL9, I say calmly, I want to talk about something bigger. I slide the first report across the table. 15 documented incidents of safety concerns buried or ignored in the last 2 years. I'm alleging a systemic culture of silencing dissent. Several board members exchange looks. Drew scoffs. Anecdotes from disgruntled staff. Then let's look at these. I distribute side-by-side copies of safety reports, originals versus altered versions sent up the chain. Critical data stripped. Risk factors downplayed. Who changed these? Franklin asks coldly. Drew's smile tightens. That's above my pay grade. Is it? I say. I connect my tablet to the screen. 2 video feeds play simultaneously. The original XL9 formula warping under pressure. My version, stable, safe. Replicated 17 times, peer-reviewed, these aren't feelings, they're facts. An outlier, Drew says quickly. The outside lab, never tested for breakdown pressure. Your lab was hired to miss the failure mode. Gasps ripple across the table. Then I drop the bomb. I have sworn statements from 5 former employees, including the one person you all helped push out. The door opens. Tanya Reyes walks in, followed by Raj and 3 more former staffers. Each one holds a manila envelope. This is outrageous, Drew snarls. Leonard, are we seriously? Franklin raises a hand. Let them speak. Each testimony paints the same picture. Retaliation, cover-ups, silence traded for safety bonuses. Then I reveal the final document, a hidden bonus structure awarding payouts only for products launched on schedule. No quality, no safety metrics. Drew turns white. You created a system that punished truth and rewarded risk, I say. You didn't just ignore warnings, you built a machine to destroy them. Franklin stands. This company will no longer protect speed over safety. The room falls silent. Then, effective immediately, Drew Easton is placed on leave pending investigation. A full audit of executive incentives will begin today. And just like that, the old regime cracks. You'd think taking down Drew Easton and exposing Marshall's lies would be the end. It wasn't. Within a week, I felt the system snapping its jaws shut again, quiet, deliberate sabotage disguised as business as usual. Purchase orders for critical compounds vanished into backlog. It restricted our access to the analytics database, routine maintenance. The HR rep assigned to my team was suddenly on leave. Then came the budget meeting. Rescheduled 3 times, then moved to 7 a.m., with no notice. And when I arrived, the lights were off. The boardroom empty. I stood there, holding my team's revised budget projections in my hand while my phone buzzed with a message from procurement. Looks like the XL9 team can't handle basic logistics. Maybe it's time for a leadership change. That wasn't a mistake. It was a message, and I got it loud and clear. 2 days later, I'm visited by someone I never expected to speak up. Pavel Nureyev, senior engineer, 30 years at Granite Chem, known for minding his business and keeping his head down. He steps into my office, closes the door, and locks it. They're trying to choke you out, he says. Budget, resources, reputation. One misstep and you're gone. Who's behind it? Vance, Lenore, Drew's whole circle. They think if XL9 fails under your leadership, they can call it a technical misjudgment and bring back Marshall. I stare at him. Why are you telling me this? He pulls out a picture of his daughter in a cleanroom suit. She works at a facility that ordered XL9, he says. If Marshall's version had shipped, she could have been injured. That hits me harder than I expected. I nod slowly. Thank you. He's almost out the door when he pauses. They're underestimating you. Don't let them. That night, I meet Tanya and Raj at a coffee shop in Wicker Park. We sit in the far back, behind a curtain of ferns. I have an idea, I say, but it's risky. They lean in. What if we don't just defend against their next move? I say. What if we bait it, record it, and use it to burn the whole rotten support system to the ground? Raj frowns. You want to set a trap? No, I want to set a stage. And then hand them the script. Over the next 72 hours, we put our plan in motion. Tanya reaches out to her contacts in internal compliance, quietly, confidentially. Raj installs a secondary audit trail on the cloud server. I send out a mistaken email chain discussing sensitive supply chain adjustments, making sure it gets forwarded to the usual suspects. And just like that, the trap is baited. The next week, a mysterious leak appears in the company's Slack. A spreadsheet claiming my formula was more expensive, more time-consuming, and potentially unstable in colder climates. It's unsigned, but every line matches a memo I never wrote. Within hours, the memo is cited in an anonymous board request to reevaluate Claire Danvers' qualifications as a division leader. The request is conveniently leaked to staff. The whisper campaign explodes. She lied about the data. She's sinking the company with her ego. Marshall would have had this out the door by now. I do nothing, not yet. Friday morning, 10:30 am. I walk into the same executive conference room where I was once nearly erased. But this time, I'm the one with the evidence. Before we begin, I say, I'd like to play an audio clip. From my tablet, Tanya's voice fills the room. Just rewrite the data. Claire won't push back, we've already isolated her. Once this memo leaks, the board will have to take action. Then Raj's voice, what if she fights it? Then we say she's unstable, emotional. She broke protocol. The voices belong to two senior directors, Lenore Voss and Vance Rourke, allies of Drew, lifelines for Marshall. Franklin's face hardens. We confirmed their network access timestamps, I add. They planted the fake memo and tried to frame me. The room is silent. Then Franklin Mora speaks. Quiet, controlled. Terminate both, effective immediately, and launch a full forensic audit. He looks at me. Claire, what do you recommend next? I glance down at the folder in my hand. I say we do what Granite Chem has never done before. I open the folder. And clean house for real. 3 weeks after the trap was sprung, Granite Chem doesn't look the same. Lenore and Vance were terminated within hours of the meeting. The audit uncovered 2 years of coordinated cover-ups, manipulated reports, and even altered safety protocols signed off without proper review. Marshall Decker, he didn't wait to be fired. He submitted a resignation letter that reeked of bitterness and betrayal, claiming a hostile takeover of his division and unfair vilification by a politically motivated team. He blamed me for everything. And he was right, because I planned every step. The board voted unanimously to install permanent oversight committees for every product launch. Internal safety officers were reclassified as protected roles. No one could fire or demote them for raising red flags. But the biggest change, the Danvers Protocol. A company-wide mandate. Every product must pass an independently verified safety test, not by the project director, but by an external chemist unaffiliated with launch bonuses. Named after me, the woman they tried to scrub out of the company. And yet, nothing felt truly complete. Until one night, almost 6 months to the day, I was walking down the executive hallway and a young custodian stopped me. Excuse me, he said. Are you the woman who scrubbed the exec bathroom that time? I nodded slowly. He smiled. I was just hired, first day. They told me your story during orientation. I blinked. They're teaching it, I asked. He grinned. They said if you ever feel ignored or if someone tries to shut you up, remember what Claire Danvers did. Remember the mop. That's when it hit me. The mop wasn't a symbol of humiliation. It was my first weapon. Marshall used it to break me, but I used it to clean out a whole system. Later that week, Franklin Mora called me into his office. A new promotion was waiting, VP of Safety and Scientific Integrity. A new department. My design, but before I signed, I walked down to the space that once belonged to Marshall. His nameplate was gone, his desk empty, the walls stripped bare. In its place, a sleek new workspace with floor-to-ceiling whiteboards, open benches, lab samples under lock and key, the sign on the door, safety first, results always. I turned to the facilities manager. What was this space again? I asked, playing dumb. He smiled. Used to be Marshall Decker's office. Now, it's yours. I stepped inside, took one deep breath, and left the door wide open. If you liked this story of corporate revenge and redemption, hit that like button, drop a comment with your city, and tell me, have you ever had to fight a toxic boss? Subscribe for more stories like this, because sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. It's getting better.